Hi, welcome to Take 5 and thanks for joining me. In October 1864, just before General Sherman commenced his famous march to the sea, while his army lay camped in the neighborhood of Atlanta, the Army of Hood, in a carefully prepared movement, passed the right flank of Sherman's army and gaining his rear, commenced the destruction of the railroad leading north, burning blockhouses and capturing the small garrisons along the line. Sherman's army was put in rapid motion, following Hood to save the supplies and larger posts, the principal of which was located at Altoona Pass, a defile in the Altoona range of mountains, through which ran the railroad. General Corse of Illinois was stationed here with a brigade of troops composed of Minnesota and Illinois regiments, in all about 1,500 men. Colonel Toutlot being second in command, 1.5 million of rations were stored here, and it was rightly important that the earthworks commanding the pass and protecting the supplies should be held. 6,000 men under the command of General French were detailed by Hood to take the position. The works were completely surrounded and summoned to surrender. Corse refused and sharp fighting commenced. The defenders were slowly driven into a small fort upon the crest of the hill. Many had fallen, and the result seemed to render a prolongation of the fight totally hopeless. At this moment, an officer caught sight of a white signal flag far away across the valley, 15 miles distant upon the top of the mountain. The signal was answered, and soon the message was waved across from mountain to mountain. And the message was, "Hold the fort, I am coming, W.T. Sherman." Cheers went up, the men took courage, and under a murderous fire which killed or wounded more than half the men in the fort, Corse himself being shot 3 times, and Colonel Toutlot taking command, though himself badly wounded, they held the fort for 3 hours, until the advance guard of Sherman's army came up and French was obliged to retreat. Christians should never surrender to Satan, because we have the promise of Jesus Christ's return. For he that shall come will come and will not tarry. A few points for us to note about the coming of Jesus Christ at the right time. The first is, Jesus' coming will be visible and personal. Matthew 24:23-25 says, "Then if any man shall say to you, See, here is Christ, or there, believe it not, for there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, so that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect." Verse 25 then says, "Behold, I have told you before." This means that we ought not to listen to Jesus being discovered in Zambia or in Europe or in Asia. The coming of Jesus Christ will be visible to all and personal. No one will tell you about it. You'll see him for yourself. Matthew 24:29-30 then says, "Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken." Verse 30 then says, "And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory." I love 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 52-53, which says, "In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality." The coming Christ administration will revamp everything, including our own mortal bodies, to be clothed with the original plan that was meant to be in Eden forever. The second point then says, Jesus' coming will be penalty. A gentleman visiting a certain school gave out that he would give a prize to the pupil whose desk he found in the best order when he returned. "But when will you return?" some of them asked. The man then said, "That I cannot tell." A little girl who had been noted for her disorderly habits announced that she meant to win the prize. "You?" her schoolmates jeered. "Why, your desk is always out of order, any day." "Oh, but I mean to clean it the first of every week," she said. "But suppose he should come at the end of the week?" someone asked. "Then I will clean it every morning." "But he may come at the end of the day?" For a moment the little girl was silent and she was thinking. Then she finally said, "I know what I'll do. I'll just keep it clean anyway." My friends, Acts 17:31 then says, "Because he has appointed a day in the which he will judge the world in righteousness by that man whom he has ordained. Wherefore he has given assurance to all men in that he has raised him from the dead." It becomes important for us to always be prepared. Matthew 25:31-34 then says, "When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit on the throne of his glory, and before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divides his sheep from the goats." Verse 33 then says, "And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then shall the king say to them on his right hand, Come, you, blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world." We may seem the same today, but the coming of Jesus Christ will be penal. It will reveal who we really are, whether we are on his side or we are against him. We are to work while we wait for the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. I'm reminded of a story of a gardener who was managing a large estate in northern Italy. When he was conducting, a certain visitor came through the castle and the beautiful well-groomed grounds. As the visitor had lunch with the gardener and his wife, he commended them for the beautiful way they were keeping the gardens. The visitor asked, "By the way, when was the last time the owner was here?" "About 10 years ago," the gardener replied. The man was surprised. Then he asked, "Then why do you keep the gardens in such an immaculate and lovely manner?" The gardener responded, "Because I am expecting him to return." The man then asked, "Is he coming next week?" The gardener responded, "I don't know when he is coming, but I am expecting him today." My friend, we need to live as if Jesus is coming, not soon and very soon, but soonest. Lastly, the third point then says, Jesus coming will be renewal. You know, my favorite verses are found in Revelation 21, verse 1-3. And they say, "And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. And God himself shall be with them, and be their God." It's not over. When you get to verse 5, then it then says, "And he that sat on the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. And he said to me, Write, for these things are true and faithful." I can't wait for that day when all shall be made new. If Jesus came today, the question then becomes, would he find us ready for him? Take this time, as we live a slowed down life because of this COVID-19 pandemic, to think things through. Are you right with God? If the world events are wrapped up, how will it fare with you? Think on it, hey? For Jesus is coming soon and very soon, and he wishes you to be in his kingdom. Take 5 is a show produced by the Chizipiti Church, a fountain of love, and is made possible by support from many partners. If you wish to follow more of our studies on these and many other subjects, please connect with us on the Chizipiti SDA Church on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Like our platforms and share with us your comments. We also have our plug-in team ready to pray with you and encourage you through life's challenges. So please connect with us and would love to pray with you. We can't wait to hear from you. And remember, when life seems to drown you, just take a moment, take a break, and take 5 to reflect. Thank you for joining me today on Take 5. Can't wait to connect with you again next time. Keep the messages and the questions coming. Would love to hear from you. God bless you.